For those of you that are interested in doing your own oil changes and you may not be familiar with oil and filters and things like that, and you're newer to being a car owner, maybe you're a lady that's on her own wanting to find out what goes into servicing your vehicle, or you're going to start doing it yourself to make, you know, your life easier financially on the pocket. Or if you're a young man or woman just trying to get into the automotive field or just want to learn about automotive stuff in general, this video is going to be about oil and how you find what oil goes in your vehicle. Just general talk about servicing, keeping track, checking oil, and what to put in your vehicle, all vehicles. Now first, we're going to start with this here. I'm going to show you, this is a 2007 GMC Sierra. It has a V8 engine. It's a 4x2 system. 4x2 means it's 4 wheels but only 2-wheel drive. 4x4 means it's 4 wheels but 4-wheel drive. This is a 4x2 system. Find out what oil's in this thing, you would pop the hood, go to the front of the vehicle. On this particular vehicle, the hood latch is right here. Some of them may be down here. Most vehicles are typically right up underneath the hood, right where it lifts up. Lift up the hood. Let's look at the oil cap. This is the indication of the oil. It's got a little canteen, a little, I don't know what you'd call it, a little pour spout. Looks like a gravy dish that you'd see at Thanksgiving time or Christmas time or holiday time. It says right on it, SAE 5W30. That means this takes a 5W30 oil. That's what's recommended for this motor. To check the oil, you find typically yellow dipstick. I think some of them have a black top to them, but this is the oil, this is the transmission. Red means transmission, and it actually has a gear with fluid across it for transmission. Yellow, typically it'll say engine oil, or it'll be yellow of some sort, and when you pull it, it'll be like a clear brownish color. So here you see, this is a clear brownish color. Now that I've pulled this out, I will wipe it off. Now that I have wiped the dipstick clean, you can see here there's nothing on it. There is the bottom crosshatch where the first hole is, and then you got the top dot right there. Some of them say low and some of them say full. We want to be somewhere in between to 3/4 towards the top of the crosshatch. Now that it's clean and the vehicle's been sitting for more than 5 minutes without running, I will stick the dipstick in here, pull it out, and recheck my oil level. My oil level is full. It's right at the top of the crosshatch by this top mark here, by the top dot right here. So I know I have the proper engine oil level. If it was ever to be low, let's just say we were at the bottom of this crosshatch right here, where this dot is. Typically from the bottom to the top is about 1 quart low on general vehicles. Sometimes you may have to put a little bit more. Where you put the oil is underneath the cap that specifies the engine oil picture with the engine oil weight. Some people will also call this the 710 cap. It's a slang term for oil because when people go put the cap back on, OIL flipped upside down looks like 710, 710. So if somebody says, hey, pull the 710 cap, what they're talking about is they're talking about oil flipped upside down. Pull the actual cap. How else can you find what oil goes in the vehicle? Well, let's find that out. Owner's manual. Now we've moved over to my personal vehicle. That was the girlfriend's vehicle I was showing you on. 5W30 Dexos approved oil. Over here I moved over to my 2006 Lincoln Town Car. This is a 5W20 system, and I like to run a really good quality oil in here. I don't run anything basic run-of-the-mill. I run a Pennzoil Platinum Ultra, which is a synthetic oil. She also runs a full synthetic oil. The better product you put in the vehicle, the general consensus is the better it's going to be to you. So here's the owner's guide. Let's look in the owner's guide. Typically, you could look in the back of the manual under oil or maintenance. Let's just see if we can find oil in here. oil. Right here. See page 276. So then we go to page 276 in here. We passed it. And it literally tells you everything about checking the oil and exactly what to put in. Checking the engine oil. Make sure the vehicle is on level ground. Turn the engine off and wait up to 10 minutes for the oil to drain into the oil pan. Set the parking brake and ensure the gear shift is selected. Make sure the set the park brake and ensure the gear shift is securely latched in the park position. Open the hood. Protect yourself from engine heat. Locate and carefully remove the engine oil level indicator, which I showed you is that dipstick with the yellow top. And then it says, if the oil level is below the mark, if the oil level is below this mark, remember that one I told you on the bottom? Engine oil must be added to raise the oil level within the range of operating. From that to that is operating range. So if the engine oil is even with that hole or lower, you want to add until it's in the middle of this range somewhere. If required, add engine oil to the engine. Do not overfill the engine with oil. Oil levels above this mark may cause engine damage. Right there. That top mark that I showed you, you don't want it to go any higher than that. What ends up happening is the engine oil drops, or the engine oil can be raised so high inside the oil pan that as the crankshaft is rotating, it can actually start whipping the oil and be pulled into the PCV system, and it will start to foam it, and as it's being pulled into the PCV system, you'll actually start to burn the engine oil as fuel through your intake side, and that's not good. That creates an issue for the catalytic converter, your exhaust system. It's poor drivability. You don't want to overfill your oil. Let's look back at the book here. Adding engine oil. Check the engine oil for instructions. Refer to checking the engine oil in this chapter. If the engine oil level is not within normal operating range, and add only certified engine oil of recommended viscosity. Remove the engine oil filler cap and use a funnel to pour the oil into the opening. Recheck the oil level. Make sure the oil level is not above the normal operating range, which is that top mark right there. Fully install the engine oil cap. To avoid possible oil loss, do not operate the vehicle with the engine oil level indicator and or engine oil filler cap removed. And then here, maintenance specifications, page 278. Use SAE 5W20 oil, and then it tells you exactly what to get. To protect your engine's warranty, use Motorcraft SAE 5W20 or an equivalent 5W20 meeting Ford specification WSS M2C930A. So as long as you're with a 520 or a 530, you're fine. Some people like to run a 530 in a little bit more of a higher mileage engine. It makes it a little quieter, but it doesn't necessarily make it better. A thinner oil like a 5W20 will actually get you better fuel mileage, but a thicker oil like a 5W30 may add a little bit of protection for lightly worn engines. That's a choice you have to make. I would stick with what the safe bet is whatever the manufacturer recommends, and whatever's on that oil cap is what you put in that vehicle. Well, now I'll show you what my engine bay looks like and how to check the oil on my car. And if you wouldn't mind tagging me in a video where you do a basic instruction on how you learned something from my video, or what you feel like you would like to add for new people based on what I've added in my video, I'd like to see yours, and I wish you'd share it with me. So mine is in the same spot that you seen earlier to pop the hood. Pull the little latch on the lower left foot area, and then my latch on the town car actually pops out, and then you pull up on mine. And that's how you release the latching mechanism on my car. This is my engine bay. I try to keep it very, very clean, so I don't want surprises. I like keeping my engine bay clean. I don't even really like to leave leaves and stuff up on top of the cowl, because what ends up happening is it restricts some of the fresh air that goes in there, and actually it can entice rodents, the more debris that's built up there. And then that's when rodents start getting in your engine bay and chewing on wires and things like that. So if you actually look over here, my oil cap says SAE 5W20, just like the manual said. And you would typically just twist it off, give it a nice wipe everything off with a towel, and then put it all back on after you're done filling your oil. On my Lincoln Town Car, yellow oil dipstick is down here. And you can see my oil has been sitting, and it's right at the full mark. Anytime you're working with your oil cap or your dipstick, you always want to wipe off the area before you pull anything apart, because you don't want to expose the engine to debris. It's a clean practice. It's a very safe practice. And anytime you change your own oil or go anywhere to have your oil changed, make sure that you're caring about the product as well as you financially can. If you can afford a better filter, a nicer, a cleaner, or like an upgraded filter over the most basic $3 or $4 filter, but you can afford the $6 or $7 filter, you're always going to be in best standing with something like that. If you can afford the full synthetic oil change versus the semi-synthetic or conventional, you're always going to be in best standing with going with the best that you can afford based on your vehicle. If you're going to go with a cheaper type of filter when you do your oil change, or you go to a place to have your oil done, and you're going to go with a more conventional type oil where it's not as high of, like I'm running AMS oil in here. My personal preference is a Pennzoil Platinum Ultra or Pennzoil Platinum. If you're not going to spring for the extra, better oil, then you're going to have to do a shorter oil change interval. So instead of changing your oil at 5,000 miles, maybe somewhere between 3,000 and 4,000 would be more beneficial to you, because the quality is not there and the filtering is not as good. But you're working within your means, so I understand that as well. This is just some basics on where to find the oil that goes into your vehicle, the spec, and also what to look for and how to kind of approach the situation with checking your oil, the drain back time, and exactly what goes in your vehicle. I hope this has helped somebody. I appreciate you. Be blessed. And if you have any questions or you want to share a video that you've made based on something you've seen here, please let me know. Thank you. Have a great weekend.